Hey, Pastor Kevin Jackson again. Thank you for clicking through and being a part of this training video series. This is the first in 3 videos that I will explain to you in more detail what prayer is and what prayer is not, those obstacles that we have to overcome, and then I'll give you the extended blueprint, step by step, how to look at prayer, how to view prayer, and how to actually pray. In this video, though, I think it's important for us to remember what prayer is and what prayer is not. And I think in order to come to a good working definition of what prayer is, we have to first come to terms with what prayer is not. Let me mention 2 things. First, prayer is not informing God of information. It's not telling God so that He'll learn things. God doesn't learn. In fact, Jesus says that in Matthew 6 when He says, God already knows your needs before you ask. So if me informing God is not the reason for prayer, what is the reason for prayer? The second thing that prayer is not manipulating God. Unfortunately, many have been under the illusion that prayer is just getting whatever you want from God, as if God were some kind of cosmic Santa Claus who just gives you everything for which you ask. Well, that's not true. God is not a God that can be manipulated by our prayers. We know that God says yes sometimes, He says no sometimes, and He says wait sometimes. And we have to understand that His love undergirds those answers that He gives us, and we must persist and persevere in faith, in prayer. So what is prayer? Let me say 2 things. What is prayer? Number 1, prayer is to know God. Prayer is to know God. You have, by faith and because of grace, been united to Jesus Christ, God's Son, and so now you are able to commune with God because of your union with Jesus. And so prayer is a way for you to get to know Him, to learn Him, to experience Him. Do you remember what Jesus said in John 17? He says eternal life is to know God. Do you remember what Solomon said in Proverbs chapter 3? He said, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He'll make your path straight. That word for acknowledge there is the word know. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, know Him, and He'll make your path straight. Prayer is a way for you to know God. Do you remember what the psalmist says in Psalm 46? He says, be still and know that He is God. So the first thing we have to come to terms with in prayer is that prayer is to know God. It's a way for us to learn Him and to experience Him. Now the second thing is about prayer, what prayer is it is to exercise spiritually. All right? It's to exercise spiritually. And if you think about prayer in that way, that's what you're doing. You're coming to know God and you're learning who He is, but at the same time, you're exercising spiritually. Now just think about your body for a moment. If you were to do some curls, you would exercise this particular muscle. In prayer, if you pray, you are exercising your faith in God. When you come to Him, your faith grows and it grows and it grows because you continue to come to Him and trust Him over and over again. So prayer is like exercise. Do you remember how Paul told Timothy in 2 Timothy, discipline yourself for the purpose of godliness? You see, godliness doesn't happen naturally. Godliness happens supernaturally. And God has given us this exercise, this prayer, in order to exercise our godliness and to become more and more like Jesus. Now, I live in the South, as you could probably detect from the dialect. But I live in the South, and in the South, we have a religion on Friday night and Saturday in the fall, and it's called football. We love our football teams here in the South. But what I want to draw your attention to is around those football stadiums, typically there is a walking track. And if you want to exercise physically, you can go out to that walking track. You can get on that walking track and walk a lap. If you walk 4 laps, you've walked a mile. What I want you to know about prayer is It's almost like that football track. You get on that track and you walk a lap and you're exercising. Now, what I will do in future videos is I will show you exactly what that track is that you use when you exercise in prayer. So may God bless you and keep you for watching this video.